Well, there can't be too many people that have got a more pleasant outside office than the one that I'm currently enjoying here at Rijkersfontein. And the reason that I'm here is to do very important interviews. One of them is with young Matthew de KOCK, always super transparent. And then SPIES, who's the trainer of Hazy Daisy, the Highveld horse of the season as far as the classics is concerned, having won the Gauteng Fillies Guineas, the classic, and then having run second in the Oaks. We're going to find out first of all about Aladdin's Lamp from the de KOCK yard, Curious Girl. Let's start off with Matthew de KOCK. 6 months ago you probably would have thought, you know, you're crazy if I'd have told you you're going to be in the July.
Yeah, 6 months ago he wasn't in my yard, so I definitely would have thought you're crazy. But yeah, the horse, he really has turned the corner, especially after that staying race, and we started preparing him for the Jubilee and shortened up his work, and he just changed. He joined the yard. He couldn't work with, you know, a bad maiden. Nowadays he works with any horse you put him next to, and he pulls the other horse along. So been a light bulb moment for the horse, and I certainly feel he's not going to waste anybody's time in the race.
So when you look at the form and you look at a couple of runs with Olivia's Way, and the fact that she ran second in the Summer Cup, carries the same weight as Frank Robinson's filly, and the Ultimate King, you're right in the mix. I mean, it's not like you've come out of nowhere.
Yeah, especially on our last run, it was as a form reference with Olivia's Way. He's got to be in the mix. Obviously, before that, he won the consolation race on Summer Cup Day, beating Field Marshal in 2 seconds quicker than the Summer Cup. So, you know, there's glimmers of hope there for us, and we wouldn't have supplemented the horse after the Jubilee into the July if we were, you know, spinning a story. You know, we really truly believe the horse, the way the field's kind of cut up, and the weight structure, that he's certainly a life chance.
Well, Team de KOCK could be accused of many things in life, but they never spin stories. I mean, you don't go into a race like that. And bearing in mind that the 9th horse in that race, Hotter Ruby, has come out and won to frank that form already. Not that there have been many runners, but that is encouraging anyway.
Yeah, always promising when something like that happens. But, you know, we just focus on our own horse really, and he's come out of the race really well. And I think he's taken another step forward in his work at home, which is quite exciting.
Okay, so the draw's not exactly what you would have liked. Probably liked to be midfield, somewhere around there. But the fact of the matter is it's very unlikely that you encounter a lot of trouble early on in the race, because they go hell for leather to the drill hall. What sort of instructions do you give Calvin, or do you just let him ride the horse as he finds it?
Yeah, I don't think you can tie him down from that sort of gate. There's lots of pros and cons to being drawn 18, as you know. Yeah. We always kind of say, oh, we want to be drawn inside. It's easier, but sometimes inside spot can be the kiss of death, and it can work out terribly for you, especially in a July when everyone's putting pressure from the outside. So yeah, I'm positive about it. You know, I didn't take the draw negatively at all. I thought it's not a bad place to be. We're out of the scrum. The horse can just find a nice rhythm. Calvin can hopefully slot in wherever, just 3 wide with a bit of cover even. I'd take that right now if you gave that to me, and he can move into the race when he's ready. He can dictate to the horses on his inside. So there's plenty of pros about it.
Well, I seem to think, not having done intensive research on the draw, that I can think of more horses that have won the July from the outside draw. Flaming Rock was drawn 20, London News was drawn 20, Dynasty was drawn 18, Classic Flag was drawn 18. So yeah, you got more chance on the outside, I think, than being squashed on the rail in the early part of the race, if you haven't got that kind of racing style.
Yeah, I'd love someone to put up a stat actually from draw 1 to 20, the amount of times it's been run and how many winners there have been, because I agree with you, there's been a lot of horses drawn wide that have won. I think Charles gave me a stat the other day that out of the last 10 July races, 4 have come from 17 and 18, the winners. So yeah, like I said, I'm not viewing it as a negative at all.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question that I don't know the answer to, but if Curious Girl should get in the race, where would she jump from?
I actually trying to listen the other day during the draw to how they work that. I'm also a bit in the dark there, so at the moment I'm not worrying about it because she's not in the race. Exactly. But there is some sort of system. I could be mistaken, but my guess would be that she'd take the draw of the scratched runner.
Okay, so the fact of the matter is that she's carded to race on the day itself over a distance that she's got no problem getting. I'm sure you'd like to be in the big race, but what are your thoughts about getting into the big race, or definitely picking up a big stake check towards the end part of the day?
Yeah, obviously we would love to be in the race. It's always fantastic to be a part of a race like that, but I wouldn't want to get in the race at someone's disposal. You know, we reserve 2 now. I don't wish any bad luck on anyone between now and next week Saturday, because that's the only way we're going to get in, is if something goes wrong with the horses in front of us. So I accept it for what it is. We're probably going to run in the Vase, which she's a live chance in. And, you know, if she runs it particularly well in a race like that, we kind of thinking Gold Cup. So that's the route we envisaging.
What is very interesting for me is to see that Hazy Daisy on a 117, the same merit rating as Wishlist, who's a dual grade 1 winner. Well, she actually won the Derby, which was grade 1. I don't think the Woolhampton was grade 1.
Yeah.
I think it was grade 2.
Grade 2,
but the point is that you've got a merit rating of 17 pounds less than that.
Yeah.
And yet you ran a much faster time in the Derby.
How much battery and tape you got on this camera? Because we could be here all day discussing handicaps and ratings.
Yeah.
But, you know, we chose to run in the Derby because we thought it was going to be better for our rating, which it turned out to be. We could have run in the Oaks and been a 118, 119 for beating the likes of Hazy Daisy. Maybe that's kept us out of the July this year. But, you know, there's plenty of racing ahead for Curious Girl. After the season, she's certainly a Summer Cup filly, which is a handicap again. And then there's the July next year. So she's got 17 points to play with between, you know, for the next 12 months. We didn't ruin that in one go. So, like we're not upset about not being in the July at all, but certainly she's going to be well higher than 100 in 12 months' time.
Well, as always, I'd like to thank you and your dad for your transparency and for giving us the time, because the public out there are the lifeblood of the game, and they just love to have the inside story from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, a pleasure, Andy. We always like to speak to the public, and hope that everyone takes everything we say with a pinch of salt. You know, sometimes we don't have to speak the gospel truth, and it doesn't always work out well. But looking forward, we always try our best to help and guide everyone in the right direction. But I'm really looking forward to the race. It's a super exciting race. It's the best race in the country. So much international flavour this year as well, which is fantastic coverage for South Africa, and hope the day goes off well.
Andrew, look, for me it's always imperative that they see the track. And Hazy's obviously been running in Joburg on tracks with long running testing tracks, and Greyville is much different. You turn for home and it's business. So I needed her to go and see the track at least, with our rider Trent, that he gets a feel for it. And obviously that was after Hazy's bit of a break after the Triple Tiara, and 5 weeks to the July. So we definitely still needed the run, and the race was run at a blistering pace. We would have obviously loved to have won it. She still ran the 2,000 meters in 1.5 seconds, I think, faster than Wishlist won the fillies equivalent. And that's just the trainer making a poor judgment into which race to run, because she probably would have won the Woolhampton on times. Look, I think Andrew Fortune timed it very, very nicely with Wishlist, and it would have been an interesting deal. But we'll take Wishlist on in the July now, and with a much better prepared Hazy. As I say, we obviously aiming for the July, and I think we got a spot on for Saturday. So I think we'll see a different horse at Greyville this time.
What I'm battling to get to grips with, and this is not your problem, is that Curious Girl, who won the Derby, she's sitting on 52 kilos. It says on paper that she would have won the Oaks by 7.5 lengths.
That's correct.
That's not your problem. The reality is that you're sitting on the same merit rating as the second favourite in the race, which is Wishlist, who's obviously won the Woolhampton and the Derby.
That's
so
correct.
She's in very, very good company.
I think Wishlist is the only dual Group 1 winner in the race. And look, I'm not going to get into the merits of horses getting into the July and so on. That's a whole different debate, and I'm sure it's raging out there, like it is every year. We're just very blessed that we have this filly, and that we are in the lineup. And I think any owner and trainer's dream to just have a runner in the race, and with a bit of a chance to win it. It's the stuff dreams are made of, and with Hazy in the final lineup, it certainly gets one dreaming.
Okay, so we didn't see a hang of a lot of her work on the gallops, but I know that she worked really, really well, according to sources around Fontaine, that you were very happy with her work.
Yeah, she looked really impressive. Unfortunately, at the time of the gallop, the air movement direction changed, and the mist from the dam basically just moved in and absolutely disguised Hazy's gallop, which I think is a very good omen, because Hazy Daisy in the hazy fog, there must be something in it. She worked very, very well. They came back the next morning to just do a bit of footage on a slow canter she did. So, there's not much you can see there.
Sure.
But the grass work was really what I wanted to see. And like I say, I think we have a spot on for the race.
So for all the ladies out there, every single person wants to back a filly. You've got two choices over here, maybe three. But the point is that she's in with a very, very live chance, and she's going to hopefully recapture the form that saw her win 2 legs of the Triple Tiara.
I'm really looking forward to the challenge, and to see how we compare to the Cape horses, or they to us is probably a better way to put it. And I mean, both of them, they basically drawn next to each other. That'll give us a lot of insight as to where the depth is in the country. Bisu Bisu for Bram van Heijsteen and his daughter Bianca is really, really enthusiastic about the game. He did nothing wrong first time out. I think he beat a very, very good horse.
Yep.
And the rest of the field pretty much left in their dust. He's come on very nicely from that run, and also with a draw 6, so we've got 2 6 draws. And like I said to Daresh Dasrath when did the July draw, I said, doesn't matter what you draw, as long as the winning draw. So I think we got the winning draw, and we got the 6 in the other one as well. So Bisu Bisu, a very lively runner, and it's a race that we've won twice before. So it is a special race. A third would be very, very welcome, and if we can do it, Bisu Bisu is definitely the one.
The hype and the anticipation around this event is unprecedented. Not only are Hollywood bets throwing the weight behind the stakes, but with regards to marketing the whole event and just making it something to be a part of, it's tangible and it's exciting, and that's what we want to be in racing for. So, nice to be involved with a lot of runners on the day. Dubai Dude put up a very eye-catching gallop as a companion to King Pellez last week Thursday at Hollywood West Greyville. It's indicative of him. He's a progressive type of a horse. If he had a draw, I would be more confident, but he's going to go forward from there, hope for a bit of luck in running, and I would think he's good enough to compete for the finish, but we just need, we don't want to take an uneconomical route there, because otherwise, they are flesh and blood and they'll be leg weary. But yeah, place of practice doesn't work as well as Dubai Dude, but he's got the blood. Vercingetorix, Catanel, that's gold, as such, purple blood, and maybe he can make his presence felt, but he has had a good prep.
Okay, and then onto the second race. You've got this horse called Grand Occasion. Is your representative in the second race, once again Chad Schofield in the irons.
Yeah, she ran a little bit flat on Sunday. I think it was more influenced by the pace of the race. She likes to use herself a little bit more, and then she didn't get a real clear run down the straight. So in her favor, it wasn't a stressful run, and she's come out of it very well. She may prefer the poly even, so maybe a roughie to include. Can't give as much confidence, but we are hopeful, and she is in a good space.
Fantastic. Then 2 horses, one with a very, very easy name to pronounce in Tomaris, the mount of young Nicholas Patel, who's been a very, very loyal soldier to you and has ridden with great distinction. And then a horse who you as the trainer would know best how to pronounce his name, and so too do the commentators.
Legs of Thunder, Mlenzi Yokududuma. Tomorrow's ran an eye-catching race on Sunday, also at Hollywood Bet Scottsville, come out of it well. And we try the 2-2. Blinkers may come off. If it works, she can run into the money. I can't be bullish with her. It's an experimental type of a run, but on her effort on Sunday and how she's come out of it, maybe a roughie for the race. Mlenzi, clearly a principal contender, in my opinion, for this event. He's just doing so well. When an older horse bounces out of his races the way he has, from race to race now, and he's done the same. I'd expect that to show in his race on Saturday. You've got to have a little bit of confidence. He's not showing leg weariness. He's in such a good space. And again, from my side, it's all systems go there.
Okay, now, there are just 18 horses in this year's Hollywood Bets Durban July, and you're number 17. I know that the draw is definitely not of any kind of consequence, for the simple reason that your horse's style of racing, bearing in mind his experience, the fact that he's won the Gold Cup already, I think it's going to suit him right down to the ground. The big question mark is, the last time you met a horse by the name of ZYL, the weight turnover was almost identical to what it is now. That was 1,400 meters. This is 2,200 meters. Can you turn the tables with him for one?
Andrew, I've a lot of respect for Zeitz, and he blew past us in that 1,400 meter race. That race was more suited to him. He's clearly got a better turn of foot than we do. So I respect him. If he sees out the 2-2 and he's got that kind of a turn of foot, he should be involved in the finish.
King Pellez, that's in the red headgear, making ground and going well enough. Mucho Dinero, they followed by Han Solo and Prevalence with 300 meters left to go. Holding Thumbs is in front. Damio's forced to find a second win, and King Pellez all the while been catching the eye. Then came Mucho Dinero, Lovers Arose and Prevalence with 150 left to run, and now King Pellez has hit the front. Holding Thumbs, Mucho Dinero, they further back, but King Pellez travelled a dream and delivers. King Pellez the winner. Second goes to Holding Thumbs, then Mucho Dinero and Damio ran fourth.
The best bred horse in the race, without any shadow of doubt, being by Duke of Marmalade out of a Galileo mare. You can't get better breeding than that.
Yeah, the mare Grail Maiden, blue hen, as you say, purple blood. It's a privilege to have access to such bloodstock. The doings of Mickey Goss bringing in Grail Maiden, the Galileo mare. He brought in quite a few Galileos early days.
Yep.
Igugu was one of them. And Mrs. Rupert bringing in Duke of Marmalade. What a great racehorse he was. And so this is the result of great investment and foresight and passion for racing in South Africa that's given us trainers and the owners access to horses of an international caliber. So, he's got the blood.
Okay, so we talk about the luck of the draw. What about the luck of the jock? You had Gavin Larena confirmed, but I'm sure you're absolutely delighted to have a hungry, talented young international jockey such as Chad Schofield doing duty for you.
Coming back to the draw, you couldn't have touched on it better. I agree 100% with how you read it. He doesn't have to be up in the pace. He doesn't pull. He's uncomplicated, and with his experience, as you say, and I appreciate hearing your confidence on the draw, but it makes the world of sense to the punters out there, to those listening. Some horses need a draw. This is a horse, in this race that it doesn't matter as much for as it would others. Granted, if you offered me another pick, I probably would have taken it. But when you look at how things have mapped out, I see a lot of argy-bargies on our inside, and we're not sure, but it's likely that could work out in our favour if, in the likely event, that happens.
Well, let me give you some more confidence.
Yeah.
London News was drawn 20. Dynasty was drawn 20. Flaming Rock was drawn 20. Classic Flag was drawn 18. And El Picha was drawn 17.
The conglomerate can go into that mix.
The conglomerate as well. He was also drawn 18, or 17. Thanks. I'm not sure. Maybe 19.
So I didn't have all the references you do, but yeah, thank you, Andrew. So now touching on Chad, I've watched Classic Flags replays, and wow, what a ride that was from Anthony Delpesh.
Yeah.
But if we can get a similar type of a run, then I think we'll be very effective. But
because he can sustain his run, if you get going at the 700, he can sustain that.
Exactly, and I go by feel on things, and I feel that Chad is a good match for this occasion. I haven't been following him closely, and I can't tell you where his strengths are and as a rider and what his current form and all of those things are. But I'm not sure that's necessary, because he's well accomplished. He's had success internationally in the toughest racing jurisdictions around the world, where Sydney's really tough, and obviously Hong Kong, say no more. But over and above it all, when this option came available after we were struggling and nothing was sitting jockey wise, it just settled. It was like, all right, here we go. So yeah, I think it's come together for us.
You just think, well, let's move on and let's go to plan B.
That's it. Things are, life's bigger than us, and you just got to kind of ride it.
You got to be a lion. What about race 9? You got time to think, one race to breathe, and then Lion Rampart represents you. I know that he is a reserve runner, but what sort of chances of getting into the race?
I was gutted when he was made second reserve. He had a draw, and there's a horse that needs a draw around the bend. I'm convinced he would have been a big runner there. But now give him a bad draw. If he comes into a scratching drawn wide, you can put a line through it. He's a horse that needs a draw. So yeah, he's ready to run a big race.
And then Imposing needs no introduction. Victorious or just behind Zayt in his last start. That was a smashing run. There have been winners from that form line, so he looks very much alive.
Yeah, be with Imposing. He's doing very, very well. That run to Zayt was a great run. It's Hollywood Scottsville. He's probably better at Hollywood Greyville, and this horse is doing very well back home. So it's going to take either a good one or bad luck to beat him, I think.
Right, let's go with a good one. He'll be the good one. Serengeti's son, drawn. Well, I don't know where he's drawn, to be honest with you. I think he's drawn 2, if I'm not mistaken. What are you expecting of his performance with the champion-elect, or former champion jockey, Keegan DeMello in the yards?
Yeah, she's a brute of a filly, and she had a wind up, so there were 1 or 2 setbacks. The second one after a rest, put a line through that. She was just flat then, and now you're going to see a real proper racehorse. From that draw on the poly, if they're going to beat her, they're going to have to go well.
All right, and then just as Chad started off the day for you, he's going to finish off the day for you on Scarlet Starlet.
Yeah, she was unlucky last time out. Didn't jump, didn't get a run. Watch the replay, guys. Filly that works very well, and she should be very competitive there.
Okay, so obviously King Pellez is the main man for the day. We'd love to win it with him. Can you visualize in your head standing in that beautiful Willows enclosure with King Pellez?
Yeah, it's something I can, but you know what I say to people, Andrews, if you run this year's July 10 times, Hollywood Durban July 10 times, I don't think you're going to get the same result twice, maybe twice, not many times more.
Sure.
Things are going to have to go your way, our way, and if they do, my horse will be counted. He's going to be there. I don't know what the finish is going to look like, but I expect him to be one of them. And with things going our way, I can see him crossing the finish line first, but I'm not expecting it because,
it's the July.
It's the July, absolutely.